FM morning show that stands up and gives you a voice. The Jon Justice Show. On 104.1 The Truth, Tucson's News Talk FM.
7:08, and welcome to the Jon Justice Show, Hour 2. 82 degrees outside right now. Today look for a high of 103. 10% chance of rain, although it sounded like listening to KK 90 Your Side's Brian Basham's forecast. It's a little higher than that. We'll have to ask him at 8:30 this morning. Joining us in studio once again, Senator John McCain. Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Fine, John. How are you? It's good to be in the Lion's Den.
Oh,
those
please.
of you that follow our tweets.
Well, thanks.
Could I mention you one quick story very quick? I thought, a great speech to one of the really important foreign policy groups in Washington about human rights in Iran, and got a little notice. And the same day was when Snooki said she was mad at President Obama for raising the tanning tax, and that John McCain wouldn't raise the tax because, quote, he's so pale. So we tweeted back to Snooki and said, yes, you're right. We wouldn't raise the taxes, and be sure to wear sunscreen. It got covered everywhere.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Did anybody pay any attention to the really important foreign policy speech?
No.
It shows America's priorities.
Yeah, well, it shows the media's priorities. Most of the media at least.
So anyway, to follow up, Snooki were just allowed the other day that she was too good looking to go to jail. So we'll engage in that national debate, huh?
I wanted to ask you up front. I've got a number of different things that I want to talk to you about this morning, but I wanted to ask you up front. We're down to the final weeks until this primary. I know that I'm looking forward to being over. Probably not as much as you that have been in the middle of this whole fight are looking forward to it being over. But however, I wanted to ask you though, your opponent, and I wanted to get your thoughts. Had some comments to make about you recently, and I just wanted to ask you point blank, do you think that had you been elected, you would have been a worse president than Barack Obama?
Well,
I think your opinion is probably biased, but I'll ask you anyway.
That would have been in the eye of the beholder, but I guarantee I would have been a different president than this one. I wouldn't spend time apologizing for America or pushing legislation that has now given us a incredible debt and deficit that is really acts of generational theft. Just before I was on, I mentioned to you that yesterday the Wall Street Journal reported that the U.S. government spent itself deeper into the red last month, paying nearly $20 billion in interest on the debt, additional $9.8 billion to help unemployed Americans. The deficit, $165.4 billion for the month of July. I mean, we can't keep this up. We can't keep it up. It's got to stop. The president keeps giving the speech. Republicans have no ideas. Here's an idea, Mr. President. Stop the spending.
Yeah. Well, this just broke, and I don't even think you've seen this yet, but this just broke over the news wires. Jobless claims just came out just now, near 6-month high. New claims for unemployment aid reach $484,000. New applicants for jobless benefits rise to the highest since February as layoffs continue. It's not getting any better out there.
And just last week there was a article in all the newspapers by our Secretary of Treasury, Mr. Geithner, said, quote, what a recovery looks like. Do you remember?
Yes. Yes.
Hello, Timothy.
Yeah.
It's just, and as you know, yesterday the stock market reflected that with a significant drop. And look, we got to try something else. We've now tried the liberal economists, Krugman, Keynesian on steroids, economic theories. Now it's time to do what the British and the Germans are doing. It's cut spending, put responsibilities for many of the social programs back onto the local governments, and tighten your belt. That's really, haven't we done enough now for nearly 2 years of this outrageous liberal economic theory that government money then creates jobs permanently? You know, could I just mention, Tom Coburn and I put out a a document last week called Summer Blues, 100 stimulus package, 100 stimulus projects that are spent with your tax dollars. One of my favorites being the feeding cocaine to monkeys. I mean, I'm not making it up.
No, we were running through a list the other day of the stimulus. The massive one from the beginning of the Obama administration, talking about sidewalks to the tune of millions of dollars where they'd just been rebuilt 5 years before that ended up going into the middle of a ditch. I mean, the list goes on. And it's interesting, though, because I was thinking about this morning, and we have Senator John McCain in studio. We on the show, I try to talk about, what can we do? What can we do? And usually it lends itself back to elect the individuals who are going to make the right decisions in Washington, or whether it's at the state level or the local level, to stop what's going on. But I realized this morning, I was just going through the thoughts of today's show, that it also comes down to accountability. We're not looking at the money being spent and where it's being spent. We're just spending it, and then we're looking at it afterwards. And we keep seeing this happen over and over again. There's no accountability going on right now.
And there's not nearly the transparency in the process that gets us to this kind of spending. And that's one of the things, again, Dr. Tom Coburn, Senator from Oklahoma, and I have been working on getting legislation through that requires transparency. Who put in the earmark? Why? Where did it come from? Did the group or organization or company that is getting the government contract, did they make campaign contributions? This whole thing that went on with the late Congressman Murtha and a number of others. It was just, the bazaar was open. The bidding war was on. And so we now have a 17% approval rating of Congress, which means that we are now down to paid staffers and blood relatives. So that's why I think you're going to see an election this November, and it'll happen here in Arizona too. It's going to be a landmark. I think maybe it'll be comparable back to 1980 when Ronald Reagan was elected and we gained control of the Senate. But could I finally just say, we've got to make some promises and keep them this time. Republicans have to make some promises to the American people and keep them. A balanced budget amendment to the Constitution, repeal and replace Obamacare, eliminate earmark and pork barrel spending. We got to give them 5 or 6 things that we say we'll do in the first 100 days. We've got to give them reason to vote for us as well as against what Obama's been doing.
Well, and that's what I wanted to ask you about, because I really want everybody looking forward, especially after after the 24th of this month, once we have what I call our team in place, and we need to all rally behind those that are our candidates as we move forward. But the question I wanted to ask you, though, is, and I think we've been down this road before, but how much damage has been done, and how quickly can we undo some of this damage? This reckless spending that they're doing right now, can we undo some of this? Has it gone too far? Are we already going to be, my children are already going to be paying the price for this? What can we do if we gain control of the House and hopefully control of the Senate as well?
We can undo a lot of it because the Congress has the power of the purse, and they can write appropriations bills that says no funds shall be expended to fine employers who fail to provide government mandated health insurance to their employees and others. But I tell you one thing I'm worried about, John. I have to give you a straight talk. We passed 2 massive bills. One, Obamacare, 2,733 pages. Another one, this massive, quote, financial reform package, which did nothing to address the fundamental problem that caused the economic meltdown, which is institutions being too big to fail. But in those massive documents, there are literally thousands of regulations that can be written. This is what's so disturbing. We just discovered a couple of weeks ago that in the healthcare bill, now every business in America, small and large, when there's a transaction of $600 or more, they have to fill out a report to the IRS. Now, maybe for Raytheon over here, that's not too big a deal. What about our small business person that has a couple of employees, and every time they make a $600 purchase, they have to fill out a report to the IRS? We just found that out. And by the way, I did read the bill. Okay, I did read the bill. So what's going to come out of these massive pieces of legislation, which are written in such a way, Talmudian is about the best way I can. So that's one of the real concerns that I have. But I do believe we can turn around a lot of it. But one of the biggest problems with the economy today, and I hear this from small business and large, who are sitting on money, some of little, some a lot, they don't know what the future lies. Are we going to increase taxes by not extending the tax cuts? What more regulations are coming out of this financial regulatory bill? What more regulations and burdens are going to be put on them because of Obamacare? So the environment of uncertainty out there is really having a terrible chilling effect on our economy. And if we can get the kind of victories we need, we'll promise the American people, we'll carry it out, and we'll give them some certainty, and I think business will uptick, because I still have a fundamental faith in America and its future.
751-1041 is the phone number. Senator John McCain joins us in studio. Got a couple of calls on the line. We'll get to those next and more with Senator McCain. It's 718.
You're listening to Justice. Think of it as your personal bailout from all the other bad morning shows.
I needed that.
On 104.1 The Truth.
Tucson's News Talk FM.
724, welcome back to the Jon Justice Show. Joining us in studio, Senator John McCain. Got a couple people on hold. Go to the phones, and we'll talk with Shirley first. Good morning, Shirley. Welcome to the Jon Justice Show, and you're also on with Senator McCain.
Yes, thank you. I would like to ask Senator McCain if he will make a promise on the air now that if we reelect him, he will not reach across the aisle, especially with Lindsey Graham, for comprehensive immigration reform. Will you not do that for the time you're in office?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's a promise you're making on the air.
I am promising that I will try to address the issue of immigration in a way that is best for the United States of America. And obviously, I think we need a agriculture temporary worker program where they can't get enough workers down in Yuma. I would be glad to work on that aspect of the issue. If you call that comprehensive immigration reform, then it's all in the definition. But the fact is, we've got to do something with the 12 million people who are already here illegally. Again, we need a legal temporary worker program, particularly for agriculture, and I will continue to work on issues of that nature.
Let's go to Robert. Good morning, Robert. Welcome to the Jon Justice Show. You're also on with Senator John McCain.
Good morning, John, and good morning, Senator McCain.
Morning.
I would like to tell you, first off, that I have a high regard for you.
Oh, this is always a beginning. I thank you for your service. Yeah, but go ahead.
No, there is a but, only in the sense that I just want to know if the Republican Party is actually going to put on their platform for November the fact that they want to overturn what they call Obamacare, which is national health insurance, the law, not just something that Obama dreamed up. It's the law. They're going to take that away from parents who can keep their kids on their insurance till they're age 26, or they can't be denied insurance due to preconditioning circumstances and all that. If indeed that happens and the American people want that to be repealed, then maybe my idea of the government finally doing something for the American people, as the Republicans are quick to claim, is false. So that's just my statement on, because I just get so sick of you guys ragging on our president about he did this. Actually, he does nothing right. I don't think he gets up in the morning right, in the opinion of the. So, but anyway, that's my comment. Again, I don't want to be argumentative. That's just how I feel about it. I just wish we could be civil and start just basically talking about elect me because I'm going to try to do something for you, as opposed to I screwed you before, give me a chance to screw you again.
Okay, Robert, I'm going to give Senator McCain a chance to respond here.
Well, Robert, thank you. And you are very polite and you feel very strongly, and I appreciate that. And that's what this show is supposed to be all about, and I appreciate your views. I would just like to mention to you, on pre-existing conditions, our proposal was to establish a pool of state and federal money and have health insurance companies bid on giving health insurance policies to people with pre-existing conditions. We weren't going to ignore that. Yes, we will repeal and replace parts of Obamacare. The $600 transaction that has to be reported to the IRS. But more importantly, I do not believe that anywhere in the Constitution it shows that the federal government can force an American citizen to buy a product, prescribe what is in the product, and fine them if they don't. That's what Obamacare is all about, and I think it's unconstitutional. And this challenge, by the way, is now moving up through the judicial process. I'll be very interested to see how that turns out. But, Robert, thank you for your courtesy in having this discussion.
Let's talk with Bob. Good morning, Bob. Welcome to the Jon Justice Show, and you're on with Senator John McCain.
Hey, good morning. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Hey, got a question for the senator. There's been a charge by his opponent that he's trying to buy the election, and I was curious if the senator could tell us how much he spent on the election, and is it true that some has come from his presidential campaign war chest? Thank you.
It's been about $15 million, and all of it was contributed voluntarily by citizens all over this country, and I'm proud to have their support. Thanks for the question.
Let's go to Carl. Good morning, Carl. Welcome to the Jon Justice Show. You're on with Senator John McCain.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. I just wanted to ask Senator McCain is that he voted to confirm Eric Holder, who is now suing the state of Arizona. Would he regret that vote at this time?
Mr. Holder, I do not agree with. Elections have consequences, and he was the appointee of the President of the United States. I strongly disagree with a number of things that he has done. I strongly disagree with a number of other appointees that, and I just voted against Ms. Kagan for appointment to the United States Supreme Court. I don't think Mr. Holder's doing a good job. Elections have consequences.
Senator John McCain, I want to thank you, as always, for taking time out this morning. It's nice to have you in studio.
Thank you, John. Glad we could take some calls. And remember the words of the late Mayor Daley of Chicago, said vote early and vote often. Those of you that haven't early voted, it's a great way to do that. And hope we'll get a good turnout. We've got a lot of close races throughout the state, and I'm looking forward to having a great time in the general election.
Good luck in your continued campaign, and talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.